And welcome to JRock's Babylon. I am your host, Jason JRock Houston, and my good friend David Reece, who's a man of his word, is returning to the show today. I did an interview with David Reece a couple months back before the new Bangalore Choir album was out, and David told me, "Hey, Jason, once the album's out and you get a chance to hear it, I'd love to come back on the show." So that's what we're doing today. As you can see, I got this, Dave. The album's been doing quite good for you. So, how surprised are you about the fan reaction to it?
It's nuts. Completely blessed, man. I mean, when 97 Underground, I think, was the first station to take it, Bullet Train jumped in the low tens, and within a week, we went to number one. Bullet Train maintained the number one spot for 6 weeks.
Wow.
And now Driver's Seat, the last I checked, it was number two, I believe.
And then I understand that you guys are also being played on the returning KNAC. That's some pretty big news as well.
Yeah, it's full circle, dude. I mean, KNAC were way involved with the first Bangalore Choir album. They actually sponsored with ABC in concert our record release party at the Whiskey a Go-Go in Hollywood when Tom Mastery was still alive.
Wow.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
She, being one of the top DJs there at KNAC Long Beach, was kind of the MC of the night. So it was cuckoo, and it's funny how it comes full circle. Plus,
yeah, because and I bring KNAC up, David, because recently I got a chance to interview one of the DJs, Gonzo Greg, from back in the day, and
oh yeah,
and KNAC means a lot to me because, in fact, that's where I'm from. That's talking to you from Long Beach, California. And I remember I was telling him back in the day, KNAC meant so much to me, and it's great to have it back. They've been a huge force on the internet, but I love to see they're coming back like they are.
Yeah, it's to know that they're embracing the record and that they're back. I mean, I did a video welcoming them back. It's great news. That's when they left. I think it went Spanish, right?
I mean that was. In fact, we were talking about that when I interviewed this guy, Gonzo Greg, and I'm like, yeah, I remember when KNAC faded black and it became a Spanish channel.
Yeah, I mean, it blew my mind because I remember when like the first Gulf War was happening. I was seeing on like CNN. This one's from K105.5 from KNAC Long Beach. The Marines,
Yeah.
going in. It was like, oh my God. I mean, it was like all the Cali boys that were over there. And yeah, man. I mean, we've got a long history together. We've had our ups and downs, but it's always been a strong relationship.
Yeah, that's great. And David, it's great to see that you're having this kind of success with the album because when I did the last interview with you, you're talking about when On Target initially came out, big things were expected of the band. You were being managed by the same people that managed Whitesnake. In fact, you were getting ready to go on tour opening for Whitesnake, and then everything kind of fell apart. Grunge became big, and then after a few weeks, they told you we're dropping you from a label, and now all these years to come back with Bangalore Choir, it's not even the same original guys, and it's doing the kind of success it is. I mean, that's got to be kind of humbling, or like, okay, yeah, we're getting our second chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because the way the conception, I think you and I talked about last time, I was in France, and being a solo artist, you hit a plateau with fan base, and I know branding is what it's all about, like you, your station, I mean, your show. I mean, people identify with that.
Yeah.
So I just called traveling back to Italy and said, hey, I'm going to do this. But in order to do it, it had to be very similar because I've done some kind of hit and misses Bangalore Choir records over the years in the interim. And in all honesty, there'd be like two or three really good ones and honest 7 fillers. And when I called Andy Susimil about this, I said, listen, I've tried to reach out to Kurt and the guys, and they don't want to do it anymore. We have to go and study On Target because I play a lot of those songs to this day live.
Wow.
And the people in Europe, they know every word, and I'm like, man, there's so much to this, and it felt like unfinished business. So when Andy and I kicked it off, the first 4 or 5 we started it just wasn't grabbing me. The first song that actually the riff that caught my ear was Driver's Seat, and then I think Bullet Train came shortly after.
Yeah, that, and in fact, that's the second song on the album, and that's really a great way to kind of kick off the album. I also liked the track that opens it. How does it feel? I mean, a great opening track. And what's really great is, like you said, the progression of the songs on the album. It just feels like these were songs that were made to be put on the same album. It sounds like it is, in fact, a continuation of On Target, which is interesting because none of the original guys returned except for you, and you got new musicians. But it sounds like it was almost made, following the original debut On Target.
It wasn't an easy task,
Yeah.
but I mean, I studied On Target, and like I said, the first few attempts were failures. I just said, if I'm going to do this right, it's got to be what people expect of me. And I'm not technically a metal singer. I'm a hard rock blues
Yeah.
singer. That's what I am, and that's what I think people expect from me as a singer. I see the reaction live, I see the reviews, and then sometimes, dude, if you do your homework, it works. And once those songs started falling down and coming to us, it was joyful, scary, and it kind of was like overkill because there's like another 10 tracks laying around that didn't make this record because not enough space. So Giles said, let's do act one, act two. So there's 16 tracks. My initial thought was, man, that's a lot of songs. The attention span, people are going to go, eh. But I said, you know what? The songs are strong. Hopefully they'll stick with the record. And what I'm hearing is what you just said. It kicks off strong and it all works together.
And I think maybe a reason that works, despite the fact that it's so many songs on the album, is let's talk for a minute about the fact that it was so many years between On Target and this album. So it kind of makes up for lost time in a way, as far as I think the fans that are going to go out and buy this.
Well, like I said, I've done a few in between. I did Cadence, Metaphor, and Sun and Knots, Bangalore Choir Records. And on all honesty, there would be 2 or 3 really strong tracks, and the rest would be kind of filler. It just wasn't like a real Bangalore Choir record. And when I decided to do this, I said, if I'm going to do it, it's make or break.
Yeah, and I think the fact that On Target was the album you're kind of looking at for your blueprint, maybe that's why the album came out so good, because you were focused. You had a goal in mind, and it's like, this is what we're going to set out to do.
Well, I mean, I picture in your head what you're doing for breakfast yesterday morning. It's not easy. So I had to go back to 1990. What was I thinking? I mean, what was the vibe? Where was the energy? I don't know what was going on, but I think it kind of proves that this is what I'm supposed to do as a singer and songwriter. This is what I'm best, I guess.
And I mean,
my shoes fit.
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking last time about the fact that a lot of people first came to know David Reece when you were chosen to replace Udo Dirkschneider and Accept. And you're sharing me a lot of reason maybe that failed is all the people that were involved behind the scenes. That the band was very ran by the management, and like, oh, we need to get rid of Udo, we need to get an American singer in here. They had all these ideas what was going to make it work, and maybe that's why it didn't work. And it's interesting that your career may have turned out very different if that had been successful. David Reece, a new Accept singer, he comes in and they're even bigger and better than before. But I think it's also kind of interesting that you got this comeback now with Bangalore Choir. It's your own thing, if you know what I mean, as opposed to you joining a band that already had a legacy.
Well, when they fired me, I was on a mission. I said, I'll be damned if they think they can destroy me and put all the blame on me for the failure of that record. Yeah. Everybody needs to keep in mind, I did not hire myself to be an Accept. They found me. They hired me. That's something that they fail to admit publicly. And I didn't make the choice. It's like, hey, I'm in your band now. Corporate was behind it. I think the first single on Eat the Heat was a total mistake. Generation clash. I mean, if we'd have come out with Ecstasy or D-Train or something like that, let the fans know we're still a heavy group, and then kind of ease them in to say, here's some of the changes, right?
Yeah.
And then it might have been more. But when you live in the European Union like I do, there's a certain loyalty that people, you can release a few stinker records if they follow you forever, and they'll never give up on you. But they took it, the German fans, real personal when Udo was pushed aside.
Yeah.
And look at what Udo's doing now. It's proof in the pudding that he is the voice of accept. He's doing really strongly. Nothing but great respect on my end with him. We're on our friendship. He's always been cool with me. I mean, he's proven it.
That's
You
what you said
know,
the last time, and I'm sure when you joined Accept too, you weren't allowed the freedom to just go in there and write from your heart. You were they were probably other guys that were writing the songs and much telling you how to write.
no, not really. It was the battle that was going on was the Gabby being married to Wolf.
Oh,
She called herself Deafy on the back of the record. She was the main lyricist because her English was the best.
okay.
And I was brought in, and Dieter Dirks, the producer, said, start writing, put your mark on it. So I would sit out on the terrace and just write lyrics to these songs. And she would, what's the word? Do proof sheets on them. What does this mean? What do you mean by this? And there was like this ego battle from her where she was like, hey, somebody's taking my place. So that was a drag.
Wow.
She pushed back on me really hard.
Wow.
I said, hey, man, if you want me to be me, I'm going to write how I would sing this in English, not like how you wrote it in English and expect me to sing it. Because, you know, every singer that's in that band, if you notice, they kind of struggle to kind of sing those words
Yeah.
the way they're written. And that's not the Germans' fault. It's just the way they write English.
Yeah.
So I was given a green light to go, but she pushed back on me from day one.
Wow.
I don't
Wow.
know.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
always toxic. That woman just, I don't know. They made this decision, and it was almost like they didn't want to go with the decision. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Well, yeah. If we're honest too, David. That's why a lot of bands, have breakups and falling out. Is believe it or not, a lot of times over, not just ego, but money, and a lot of people just even over splitting songwriting royalties and stuff. Like you can see somebody like that she's, that's a great probably money resource for her, and somebody else coming in trying to
Mm-hmm.
take over. Who knows?
Well, I mean, she was still, I mean, I still, technically, legally, she was given a
Yeah,
sixth
yeah,
of the band. I mean, she still got it and got her name on it, but she may not have written it, but that was the way the program worked. And of
yeah.
course, I'm not going to be able to change that, you know.
Oh, sure. Getting back to Bangalore Choir, I gotta tell you, one of my favorite songs on the album is I never meant to. For a simple
My
fact, I
God,
don't.
really? Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know, but I'd call it a ballad quite, but I'd say it's an epic song, if you know what I mean. It kind of reminded me of
Thank you.
Whitesnake's kind of "Is This Love?" I mean, your song's a lot, kind of heavier than that, but I see it as kind of it could be a crossover hit, if you know what I mean.
Thank God, you know what, dude? God bless you, bro. You know what that song is about? That's about a divorce I went through in the mid 90s. And when you know how divorces can be,
Sure,
families take side, and the toxicity that, you know, who it affects the most is the children.
sure.
This parent's telling you that that parent was awful, blah, blah, blah. So I lost my kids basically in that divorce, and talking to them on the phone or messenger or letters, it's really not easy to like express yourself. Hey, your mom and I didn't get along.
Yeah,
I'm not a monster, and blah, blah, blah. But so I wrote the song with Mario Percadani telling my daughters, hey, I never meant to hurt you. You know, I know feel the scars, all that stuff. And I actually sent the song to my daughter, one of them, when it was mixed. And I said, this is a gift to you, and listen to what I'm saying to you. Broke down in tears. I agree that that song would be my crossover, okay, from basic hard rock. I'm hoping that Brave Words can bring it into like the mainstream with like Sirius and things like that. But I thank you from the bottom of my heart. That song is, I cherish that song. Thank you.
yeah, because of course, hard rock metal fans are going to maybe go towards something like Bullet Train and some other harder edge stuff, but that's I think what really made the song stand out. That it was probably one of the more most different sounding tracks on the whole album.
Well, when like you asked me before we started recording, we're going on tour with Alcatrazz and Girls School next week, the 25th of November. is the first show in Belgium. I'm going to film the audiences, and we play that song live. So I'm going to walk around when I've got time and do some filming of myself and do a video of that song in black and white and give it that atmosphere because it's a little sad, right?
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of got a Toto vibe. It's got kind of a White Snake, vibe a little bit maybe, but I'm going to make a video out of that track, and I hope people. I mean, many people have mentioned what you said. You know that song "I Never Meant to," and the last one on Act Two, "Mending Fences." A lot of people are jumping on that, and the song "The Light." I tend to get those three songs. People are like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
and the
you
light, what
nailed it."
really stood out to me again about that song, that's what I wrote. Great melodic rock. I mean, it's a little bit of '80s rock. It's got a great melody that runs through the song. Again, I don't know that
Mhm.
I'd call it a ballad, but it's definitely it's got great melody running through the whole entire song.
Well, it's a story, kid looking in the mirror, holding the curtain rod, pretending it's a microphone, and going to L.A., which I've done, hitting it. In one line, you see 1,000 faces, you pretend to know.
Yeah, yeah.
The key never unlocks the open door, and then at the end, you go back to the beginning to that little one-horse town where, hey, it's okay, I did my best.
Hmm.
But Andy wrote that groove, and when we were doing the chorus, the light is died on the stage tonight, I said, Andy, play slide under that because I had just seen Blackberry Smoke here in Italy, and I was blown away. I have to say, that's a rock and roll band, and I kind of got this vibe that they may be taking the flame from where Tom Petty kind of left off.
Hmm.
It's got this organic thing going, that worked. To see a bunch of Italian people singing those songs in English, it was like, this is working,
Yeah, it's
you
interesting
know?
you bring up Tom Petty. He's one of my all-time favorite singers and songwriters, even though I'm a hard rock metal guy. Just that
Mm.
the classic songs that are still being played on the radio, and it's kind of sad the way he went out. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this, but like he played his very last concert, was going to retire, and then like a day or two later has a massive heart attack and dies.
Yeah, and did 40 shows.
Yeah,
The last one was the Hollywood Bowl, and he
yeah.
played with a broken hip.
Wow.
And at the end of the tour, they were using a golf cart to bring him to the stage, and the band were telling him, all the way through, Tom, let's just reschedule. Nope. And he'd get up there, and he was taking pain pills to get
Wow.
through it. And we had scheduled hip replacement surgery when he got home. And somehow the rumor is, like with Prince, that had to get some pills, and they were laced with fentanyl. And he was
Wow.
actually sitting behind the recording desk working on a new idea and had a heart attack and died.
Wow.
Terrible, terrible story. And like his with Tom Petty, so that's where I like to come from. I mean, Greg Allman, guys like that could say more in 3 words than it takes me to write in 10.
Yeah.
Won't
That's why
back
a guy
down.
like Tom Petty, as great as his solo material was, I mean, that's why he also had the opportunity to work with guys like, Roy Orbison, George
Are you
Harrison,
kidding?
Bob Dylan.
Yeah. I mean, you don't make the traveling Wilburys if you're a hack and you're asked to join the upper echelon. You're doing something right. They're realizing that you have taken a little bit of them as you started out,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, Tom, come join the party. Let's make this work. I mean, amazing talent, and it's so sad that he's gone. I mean, I listened to him. I think they had their own radio station, Tom Petty Music.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I have to check
yeah,
that
it's like,
out. But because
yeah,
again, to me, it's about the songwriting. It doesn't necessarily matter about the genre. If it's good music, it's good music.
that's right. Yeah, I'm not a purist. If it's good, there's no such thing as terrible music, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, if they believe in what they're doing, anybody, and maybe I don't like the sound of it, that doesn't mean it's bad.
See, and it's
But
funny
I
because,
will
yeah,
say,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just going to say that.
Well, I will say about this record, that's why the drums on this record are live, and so is the bass.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 3 rhythm tracks played by Eric and Diego, the same rhythm, and I panned everything together with Thomas Merv, the guy that mixed it and mastered it. I wanted the non-quantized
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that perfection that it drives me a little crazy, to be honest. I'd rather hear a little push and pull in a song maybe some bad notes by the singer, but the emotion's there. You know,
Yeah.
that's okay. I mean, people have gotten to a little out of time in this phrasing. We've got to pull this back on Pro Tool. Screw it. It's rock and roll, man.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's why a song like Never Meant to like touch me so much. And it's funny that you had, obviously because of what the song means to you, had the kind of the same emotion. It's a lot closer to your heart because it's something personal that you lived through with, in your life. And yet it's not typically what you're known for doing that style of song, but I think that's why the song maybe stands out so strong.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so pleased that you brought that up. When you said it right away in this interview, I was like, wow, thank you. I mean, it's one of my favorites. I mean, totally. Right up
And
there.
then another great song on here is Beauty. And then one of the lines from that song that kind of stood out to me, it says, talking about a superficial world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that kind of what the song's
Yeah.
about? Or
I wrote that song with Gorka Allegra. He did play bass with me on the UDO tour. Steel Factory. My normal bassist had to go back to his regular job because he's gone we had 38 shows. And
yeah.
like, man, I can only do so many weeks and then I have to go back. Understood. Gorka flew over. And while we were hanging out, he's like, remember that song we wrote? And you called it The Beauty? I'm like, I don't remember it. And then I reached out to him during the process of making this record. I said, you were talking about The Beauty. Do you have it? He goes, yep. He goes, I'll send it over to you if I can play the bass and add some keyboards to it. No problem. I said, send it to me. And when I heard it, I went, that's a great song.
And another
So
great
it fit
track on the
perfectly.
album is Rock of Ages. Of course, people will think of the Def Leppard song, and it sounds nothing like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
kind of cliche. And Rock of Ages, I know, was also a great. They had this kind of musical thing in the United States, like a tribute to the era of the '80s rock scene. But
Mm-hmm.
what is this song about to you? Just kind of having a good time.
A little bit spiritual, actually. I mean, if you read the lyric, you can delve into it. And for those of your listeners, if you look at the lyric and sing along, it's Rock of Ages. It's got. I'm a Christian. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
ashamed to admit it, and I believe in God, and I think that's what gives me strength. And I don't thump my lyrical
Religion.
beliefs, but I do my religion. I don't. But there is some involved in a lot of my lyric writing. I'm not your typical baby, whoa, whoa guy.
Yeah.
I want to be deep, and I want to say things that I'm thinking about. Like you mentioned, the beauty and uh, the light. Um, how does it feel? Basically that's like a payback song. It's like, hey man, I got effed over by you. I'm sitting in a corner like bar, maybe watching that person that hurt
Yeah.
me. How does it feel when the tables are turned?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. As awful as that may sound to some people, I've always kind of had that attitude myself. Like, somebody's a friend and they've been good to me, great. But if you screw me over, watch out.
Yeah, I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me
Yeah.
twice, shame on me. And I'm guilty. I put all my cards on the table, and I think this dude or this girl is a real friend, and there's always something they want rather than just to be
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always something in the end that's connected to it, like an
Yeah.
evil tail with spikes, and that's really hard for me to deal with. My wife
Oh,
is constantly on me. You're too open. Don't do this. Don't do that. But I'm like, no, man, they're cool. And then 6 months later, you go, oh my God, here we
yeah.
go.
We're all human, David. And the this new album, I think is kind of vindication because, like you said, Bangalore Choir up at this to this point has maybe been unfinished business for you. And
That's what I said a couple days ago. I mean, maybe that's what it is. I mean, it's my baby.
yeah.
I mean, I was on a mission to prove to the world when Accept dumped me that I
I
was
mean,
not
yeah.
going to be left out in the
Yeah. Yeah.
cold,
I
and I
definitely don't
was
think this is
signed.
yeah going to be the
I mean,
final
nine
album from
shows.
yeah Bangalore Choir, but and there is some real vindication in that. But you're kind of like the heavy metal Frank Sinatra. You did it your way. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think most artists that have any salt people say you did it your way. And you know what? That's what I could say on my tombstone. I did it my way.
And you
I
know,
mean,
all the great albums you put out throughout your career, solo albums and everything in between. I mean, at the end of the day, you got some great body of work, you know.
yeah, it's funny. We talked about forgiveness and like maybe a little religion and stuff. There's always like with Iron Allies, working with Herman, maybe the Bonfire years. There's a lot of painful memories involved with that. But like when I did the Bonfire album, Glorious, David Coverdale had released the Purple album, and I was looking at the charts with the band, and we were like right behind that record all over Europe.
Wow.
It kicked butt. It was one of the best-selling records since Fireworks that they ever did, and I'm proud of that. But then connected to that are these dark memories of money missing, the same old thing, right?
Yeah,
Screw
yeah.
you over. But you got to forgive and forget, and it's really up to me if I'm going to survive this shit. It's
You're
it's
like a
in my
lion. You keep
DNA.
coming back. You know, they can't knock you down. They try over and over, but you keep coming back.
One day it's going to kill me, bro. But I mean, I'm having a blast. I mean, I'm really stoked about the tour coming up. I know everybody. I mean, Jimmy Waldo played some keys on this record, so Jimmy will be out there with it. I know Giles now, 20 plus years. Giles sings some backgrounds on this record, actually,
Okay.
because he's got a. I don't have that range that I had 20 years ago. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's a work in progress. Being a singer, you have to learn with age what's good anymore and what is fake.
I mean,
So it's Giles is able to still hit those space age, in the stratosphere notes real clean. I can't, but I can do them, but not clean like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he sings on Prisoner with me because he wanted me to do re-record Prisoner for the Eat the Heat record, and I was kind of against it. And I was like, nah, but only if I can do it guitar orientated because I really dislike the production of Eat the Heat. I friggin' hate it. I don't like the drums. It's just real sweet, sugary. That's pushed a lot of the Accept band away too. But I said, if you let me record it like this record, I'll do it. And
Mhm.
that's what I did.
Oh, interesting, interesting. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like the tour kicks off next year, and you said that's going to take you throughout Europe, huh?
Yeah, we start Belgium on the 25th November, and we end in Dortmund, Germany, I think around the 8th of December. I mean, there's only one day off. It's right now touring is tough, bro. You don't get a lot of time to hang out a couple of days off unless you're like A plus level touring bands where the singers are able to say, okay, I'll play 2 nights here, but I want 2 days off. You can't afford it.
Yeah.
So it's 3 bands. Right, I know that Alcatrazz and Girls School have been selling out all the venues in Scandinavia last week. So the package is really good, and the timing's perfect with this record. I mean,
Yeah, and it's great too because you guys are on the same label. Talk a little bit about being
mhm.
Brave Worlds. They seem like they're really getting behind you.
Mm, my options were up for my other record company,
Okay.
and I'd done a show with them last November, and I said, yeah, I'll come back. And then I started thinking about what I was seeing and what they were doing with Paul Diano before he passed, and knowing Giles was getting deeper and deeper involved with them, and I've known Giles, like I said, a long time, and I started thinking about it, going, do I really want to try to get the most money to make a record? Where, as you know as well as I do, a lot of record companies will do a massive hype campaign
Yeah.
6 weeks prior to release, and the day the album is out, the following day you don't hear a word about it.
Wow.
One thing about Brave Words that I really admire is they've got guys who have been in the scene for 30 plus years who have adapted, overcome, and improvised to survive.
Yeah.
And I will say, Michael Brandvold that kicked me right in the friggin' balls, saying, your social media sucks. If you want to play this game, Dave, you got a long way to go. So he was on me like a mean junkyard dog and taught me a lot about what I was lacking and my outreach. But what I like about him is that I can call him and tell him what I think. He can tell me what he thinks. He looked at the
Sure.
interviews I'm doing. The guy is, I mean, my weekend is completely full. I leave Monday morning.
Yeah. If it wasn't for him, I
Bodog
wouldn't be
truck.
talking to you right now. He's given me a lot of great interviews over the years, so I appreciate what he's
Yeah.
all about. Yeah.
So my overall is, you know what? You got a great record, deliver it to a great label. It's a winning combination. I'm really satisfied. Yeah,
Yeah.
great work, great team.
And then I guess the last question to ask you, Dave, before we wrap it up for today is talk about when you guys do start playing live. I mean, talk about the set list. How much of it is going to be this new, you got 16 new tracks and as well as, the other stuff that came before.
Well, like I said, last week I played France. I did 4 or 5 headline shows, and what I'm using is it's like I said, we're kind of a family. The Warlord guitar players are my live guitar player team. I've seen them with Judas Priest, with Giles fronting Priest a couple months ago,
Wow.
and I watched them, and I knew Eric because Eric had done a gig with me in Hamburg on a Bangalore headline show I did as a surprise sellout thing on a Friday that I was asked to do. It was really cool. He was my second guitarist. And I got him the opportunity to be in Warlord because the guy I was working with didn't want a second. So I said, Giles called me and said, do you know anybody that could do this? I said, yeah, Eric Uris. So Eric is my touring guy with Diego Pires. We play probably 4, 5 from On Target. We're going to play Driver's Seat, and I'm Headed For, which is another one of my favorites on this record, and Bullet Train in the set. I'm Headed For is really starting to get some traction as well. That's a rockin' tune on this record.
Yeah.
And the ballad, I Never Meant To. We also do 3 off of Eat the Heat. I do Ecstasy, Hellhammer, and Generation Clash. And then I throw in a couple really old classic covers that are a surprise. That
Okay.
are always that time of the set where you got everybody in the palm of your hand. They're singing it for you. You know, I did Changes by Sabbath just on a whim last year.
Wow.
Okay. I just listened to this black dude that I liked. He's passed on, singing it really rough like James Brown, but he kind of did a different version than Sabbath. I said, guys, let's learn that and play that. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. We played it after learning it that day in France, and the audience took over and sang it. People were crying. And then, ironically, Back to the Beginning happens with Ozzy, and this kid Youngblood sings it, and Ozzy passes a week later.
Yeah.
So now it's like this song has been reborn, and I sing that a lot in my set, and the crowd go crazy.
I
So
can
that's
see
what
why.
they can
I was
expect.
going to say, after Ozzy's passing, the song, I'm sure, it's taken on new meaning for all the Sabbath fans,
Yeah, I mean it was one of those songs that Sabbath did during their craziness, were super heavy, and then all of a sudden there's this really beautiful, I'm
Yeah.
going to change it, and it really showed that Ozzy was a real singer,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that Tony could write a love song. So, but on a whim, I just had been watching this guy on YouTube sing it. I said, man, let's do it. Just me and the guitar player. And they go, no,
Yeah.
let's do it as a band.
Yeah.
Learned it in the
Well, I
hotel
got to
room,
share
played
with
it.
everybody. David Reece is coming live from France on the other side of the world. I'm in beautiful Long Beach, California. Home of,
No, I'm in Italy right now.
oh, Italy. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I live in Italy. That's my home base, man. Home base station number 9. That's where I live.
Oh,
But I'm
okay.
talking about I was in France
Oh,
last week, but this is where I've lived since 2014. I'm married happily with a beautiful wife, 2 great stepsons, and it's awesome, man.
yeah. Great. 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 You're living it up, and I think it's about 6 p.m. where you are, and I'm just getting up. It's like a little after 9:30 in the morning, so it's
Hey,
great
check
fun.
this out, bro.
Yeah.
We're talking about dates. We had talked before we kicked on. There's right now we're working on American shows, and the guy that I'm working with, him and his partner, we're talking about me kicking off shows in Frisco and Idaho, and then heading my way, kind of going around LA and going into deep Southern California. So Long Beach, Anaheim, and those areas, it's a real possibility that we're going to be able to meet and that would be kicking off at the end of February and all the way through March and early April. And then we're going to go through, of course, Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, and then head up into the Midwest where I began my
Yeah.
career. And then my good friends at 97 have been really cool about giving me contacts with West Virginia, Maryland, Ohio, Pennsylvania. So we're working on that as well. But in the interim, I will come back here after those shows, and I've got festivals booked for Bangalore Choir in Europe and some more club dates. So it's looking like a pretty good year. It's highly likely that you and I'll shake hands early
That'd be
next
great,
year.
Dave. I will definitely come down to do that because just in wrapping up today, I let people know that years ago, the way David Reece and I first connected was through MySpace of all things. We talked about that in
Yep.
the last interview and never actually met Dave. So we've always had a
Yeah.
great contact. And then we kind of
Yeah.
met.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, we kind of met in the
I
last
told my
interview,
wife
finally
that.
face to face, kind of over Zoom here.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and it
I
was
told my wife that I've known this guy for 20 years on the internet. Probably 2010 we met on
something like
MySpace,
that.
and it was.
And I will just say, Dave, you were, of course, welcome on my show anytime. And I love if you do a video or
Thank you,
something like you
bro.
said for Never Meant To. I love to talk about that because still that's song I'm loving the most off of this.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And thank you to all your listeners and what you do, brother. And, we're going to shake hands. I
We
got a
will.
good feeling I'll be
We
seeing,
couldn't
I'll
do
be
it
seeing
without
you.
a great artist like you, Dave. So I appreciate what you do too.
Come on. Thank you
Well,
very
okay,
much.
with
You're
that
too
mutual
kind.
respect there. Take care, and
Thank
the
you.
interview be going up later today, Dave. I'll send it to you once it's up, okay?
Let's just share it, man. Let's show the world what we're yakking about.
David Reece and Bangalore Choir is all about. That's right, my friend. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, man.
Uh-huh.